Hey everybody, welcome to episode 41 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast, 20 minutes with some of the world's top fitness professionals. I'm your host, Anthony Rennie. You can check out the show notes at stop20podcast.com. Before you do that, go to iTunes, make sure you subscribe to the show. We really need those ratings and reviews to try to get the word out there. All right, for today's episode, I have Christa Doran on, and she is the founder, owner, and coach at Tuff Fitness in Hamden, Connecticut, where they are motivating and inspiring women to be their best selves for the last 8 years. She turned 8 in May. Very cool. Founded with a mission to revolutionize self-image for women. They're finding out just how strong and badass they can be. Christa also started a clothing line called Choose Strength Apparel because she didn't have enough to do. Christa, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure, Ant.
All right. Really quick side note for everybody. We did do we restarted Strength Coach TV back in April, and Tuff Girl was the first episode, so you can check that out at Strength Coach TV. It's very cool. They're doing awesome stuff there. So, Christa, let's get into this. What is your story?
Yeah, so I was a figure skater when I was a kid. Most people don't know this about me.
Wow.
And I broke my ankle during a jump when I was 14 years old, and I was in a cast all summer. And to keep my fitness up, and also at this time I was sort of unfortunately developing a body image disorder, I started doing ESPN workouts in the mornings with my cast on. So I don't know if you remember Denise Austin and Body by Galad, and I'm aging myself, but I used to do those in my living room. And as soon as my cast came off, I didn't go back to figure skating. I actually went to, I started playing sports. And I played sports through high school and college. And so I think through the sports, I wanted to be, fit and strong and all that. So I was working out, lifting weights, doing these aerobic videos, which I always loved. I think that's where my love for group exercise started. And at age 16, I started lifting and joined my first gym. And I've been training in a gym for 5 to 7 days a week since I was 16. I loved being in the gym. I loved working, sweating, and lifting. And when I was at Gold's Gym, my first gym membership was to Gold's Gym. And I was surrounded by all these bodybuilders, and while it was not a healthy lifestyle, I was exposed to weightlifting, and I just loved how I felt when I was lifting weights. And I actually started running their Group X classes there when I was 21 years old. So that's sort of how I got my feet wet in this industry. Nice.
You're the second person that brought up the Gilad and Denise and Kiana. Remember Kiana?
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. I don't know why they stopped those. I guess they should just keep those going. They should bring them back because I think a lot of people would enjoy.
They were so great on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm like, be there. I'm in my living room and they're on the beach.
That's wild. So when you went into the gym, when you went to Gold, not that you had experience, but you had like a little bit of, you kind of knew what you were doing a little bit just from that stuff, right?
Yeah, I think, and I think that's the reason I went into a gym like Gold's, which is typically pretty intimidating. And it was even intimidating for me, being an athlete, being somebody who was fit, being somebody who was not overweight. It was intimidating to walk into this gym with very muscular people. And I still went, but I think that's part of why my mission is today, to get people in the gym and reduce the intimidation factor of gyms because of that experience. But yeah, it's always been a part of my life. I can't tell you a time when I wasn't in the gym 4 to 7 days a week.
It's funny. I think you also have to kind of go through that, and again, nothing wrong with bodybuilding, but there is that self-image thing. It's all about how you look. So obviously, knowing you now, I'm like, oh wow, there's no way you were doing that, right? But you kind of have to go through that to kind of experience it, to kind of understand maybe that's not the best thing for young women.
Yeah, and I think it definitely helped me become a better coach today. I'm certainly not shy about talking about my eating disorder and my the very bad self-image I had of myself. And while it was definitely not healthy, it got me to this place today where it's a mission of mine, and I'm doing things differently for my daughters and for the women that step in through our doors. So I don't believe in like regrets. That was a learning experience. It's not who I am, but it's definitely shaped how I think and how I can influence and impact others.
Very cool. Speaking of impact, who was that superhero growing up? Who impacted you the most?
So I always, anytime anyone asks me this question, I always go back to my high school basketball coach, Rich Mahoney. And if he's listening right now, I hope he understands the impact he had on me. And the reason Rich had this impact on me was because he pushed me beyond what I thought I was capable of. So he saw something in me that nobody else ever had, because I would think that I was done and I had exhausted myself, and he would ask for more. And I gave it to him because I respected him and I wanted to work hard for him. But I think that moment when you realize that you have more to give and you give it, you get stronger. And that's what we do in the gym, and we do that with our clients. But for somebody to have that impact on me at 14 and 15 and 16, when all those thoughts about yourself are being shaped, was really powerful. And he definitely has impacted how I coach today. Like, I don't believe women are weak, and I'm not going to settle for just the minimum I want. I keep wanting more. And I think he saw in me what I didn't even realize was there. Now I want to do that for other people. And he demanded excellence in every area of my life, not just physical and performance excellence, but he also cared about my character. And I remember when he benched me on my senior game because I have been known to have a little bit of a temper and be a little bit of a hothead, especially when I was younger and less mature. And I flipped out on the court, and he benched me. And he didn't care that it was my last game. He was more concerned with how I was representing him and the team. And he didn't care that I was the captain at the time, and he demanded more. And so I definitely had to rise up and become that person that he saw in me.
That is really awesome. I mean, I know this show is popular, but I don't know if Rich is listening, so you need to go. You need to tell him that. Like Vince Gabriel actually thought about, I think it was Vince that was saying, I don't think I've ever told him that. Or somebody was on the show thinking, I never told that person that. I think I'm going to go and tell them. So you need to tell them.
This podcast.
What about now? I know, with what you're doing, and you're a superhero to a lot of people out there, but who are you looking up to right now? Like, this industry's changed so much. Who's somebody out there that's doing great things that you're just saying, wow, I'm loving that.
Yeah, we're at a time right now. I think it's really ripe for that. There is some really great people who definitely inspire me to want to be better. And you're certainly one of them, somebody who's doing good things for other people in the industry. Like, we need more people like you who's not comparing and cutting down, but looking to help the community grow and learn. And when you think about like women's fitness, definitely somebody like Erin Brown, who's trying to also fight the whole body image thing. Jen Sinkler, I think she's doing great things. Nagar Fanuni, I really like what she does for women in their body image. The Girls Gone Strong collectively have really had a powerful voice for women, sort of asking them to look differently at fitness. And then there's all the people that really inspire me to be better technically coaching, like the Boyles and the Cressis, and my friend Mike Ranfone. He's somebody who certainly they made me think about is what I'm doing safe and right. And then I have to say that I'm a Strong First. I'm in their community. I'm a kettlebell and bodyweight instructor. And, what Pavel has done for that community, bringing people all over the world together and setting this very high level standard for his athletes, not only in strength, but character. I just admire what he's done and hope to sort of take some of what he's done and apply it to my small scale experience at Tuff Girl.
Very cool. You know what I really like about that answer, and this is, and I talked to Elspeth Fino about this, is you didn't just mention, like, for your superhero growing up or your superhero now, it's not just women. Obviously, there's a female bend in this conversation. That's the message we're talking about with you, especially because what you're doing at your facility and your company and as a mom. But I love that you answered not just women with the superheroes out there. I think that's important, that it's not it's about the coaching, it's about the message, not just about for one gender or, and it's hard because, again, you're coming from a specific area of, there was a lot of bad stuff happening to from that message. But I love that you answered with some men in there too.
Yeah, I think if you're saying you can only learn from women, then you are doing yourself a disservice. And I didn't mention Tony Gentlecore, who I think he's just awesome. And a lot of these men, they are supporters of women. They are proud believers that, we are also able to do awesome things as they are. So, yeah, I think anyone who says I'm not going to learn from a man is just doing themselves a disservice, and you're cheating yourself from people that really are doing great things that can teach you something.
Good stuff. What about now? I mean, I think we know what this answer is going to be, but who are you trying to be a superhero to with your message?
Definitely, first and foremost, is my 3 girls. They are 3, 6, and 8, and every day I know they're watching what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm acting, how I'm reacting, and I want to make sure that I'm teaching them the right way, not only by what I say, more so by my actions and what I'm doing. So they are definitely the first people on my mind. And then the community at Tuff Girl, it grows. And as we grow in membership and size, we also our impact grows, because now all these people that are changing their story and that are growing in strength and power, now they are going out and they are better mothers, better leaders, better teachers, better whatever they do in their life. They are better at it. And now they are teaching even more people than I could ever reach. So definitely my community at Tuff Girl and my girls are who I am doing this work for 100%.
Another thing is, and I think for some people that they don't always catch themselves. I've talked to women about this. You had a post the other day, and you said the only weight I talk to about my kids is the weight I put on the bar, because they're always watching. And I think it's hard for some women sometimes where they don't realize maybe the kid's listening, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so fat, or even if they don't say it a lot, right? I really like that idea that, you have to make sure, you have to remember that they're always watching.
And they're soaking in everything you're doing. They're seeing how you look at your body when you look in the mirror. They're seeing that you don't go in the pool. They're seeing that you don't put on the swimsuit. They're seeing that you're talking about your thighs rubbing together, and they are forming this opinion about their own body and their own worth by you, because they look up to you. To you, you are the hero, right? To them, you are their hero. They are looking up to you. And I think a lot of women don't look at themselves as a role model. A lot of mothers, they just think, oh, I'm just the mom. But no, your kids are looking up to you. They want your approval. They want you to be proud of them. So they're going to emulate you. They're going to be like you because they want your approval, and they want your you to look up to them, and or you to think that you're proud of them. And I hear so many stories of moms who just have crushed. They're grown women that are still dealing with things from their own mothers and their own childhood, as far as body image and what they said about their own body, and then the person I'm talking, what they said about their daughter's body. And I think we all have stories like that. And I'm not going to live in the past, but I definitely am trying to rewrite the future and make it different for these girls, because honestly, I want every woman and girl to believe that they are their own hero and that they have the power to make themselves whatever it is they want to be. If you see something in somebody else that you like, you can learn that skill, and you can learn that so that you are your own hero. And every day you're doing awesome things with your own life. It's not just for the few and just for the select. You can also be a hero to other people.
Love it. And, I have one of the questions that I always like to ask for people, for veterans especially, and most of the people on my show, is about the industry and what we're doing right. I like to keep that positive spin on it, but and maybe some things that bother us. But what are we doing right, like the direction with the industry, with the way we're training women? What are some things that we need to we're doing now, but we need to continue, and some things we need to maybe change?
I think the training gyms, like myself, like all the people I mentioned, they're on the rise, which is awesome, because we are providing more value to our members. We are actually making a difference. We're actually caring about them. So the rise of the training gym, I think that's great. I think that is right in the industry. I also think that all these things like the Spartan race that's on TV, the American Ninja Warrior that's on TV, the CrossFit Games that's on TV. Well, I'm not a CrossFit fan. I think all these things that are nationally televised that are showing people, women and men, doing powerful things with their body, not just professional athletes, everyday people, is really powerful, because now you're seeing, the mom, the doctor, the dentist, the meteorologist, the teacher, the nurse, the stay-at-home person that is going out there and training for these physical things that in the past have only been displayed by professional athletes making millions of dollars. So strength is now sort of cool, and muscles on women are not just for bodybuilders. They are sort of something that is a more norm. We're still not there yet, but we're getting there. And also, I think that the tide is starting to shift, where women and strength is not a bad thing. It's not a bad word. We don't just have to be skinny. We don't just have to be lean. We can now be whatever we want to be. And that's certainly my message. There are times where I feel like I definitely am outnumbered anytime I look on Instagram. But I definitely think we're stepping in the right direction, and it's better than it was. Like, we have to look at how far we've come. So it's getting better. Every year our voices get louder, and every year we make steps in the right direction.
Agreed. Love it. And I think what you just said was important about not trying to look at like those Instagram. It does, like, sometimes I'll look at other podcasts or other shows or other fitness professionals and like, oh, they're doing such better stuff, right? Or they're doing this, or they look better, or whatever. I think we all do it, but you have to just stay away from that and kind of really run your own race and remember that, you're just moving the needle. Keep moving the needle, and
right.
And you're making progress.
Yeah, 100%. Love that.
Very cool. Well, now it's time for the stop and give me five rapid fire questions and answers. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. You just had a workshop called Reboot to Rise, and one of the Instagram memes you put up was create a life you don't need a vacation from. I love that. Give us 3 things that have changed for you that have helped you create that life.
The first one might come as a surprise because I am a mother, but it is that I am the most important person in my life. And if I don't put myself first, then I'm doing all of my roles as mom, wife, business owner, leader, coach, I'm not doing those to the best of my ability, because I'm not the best version of me. So the first one is that I am the most important person in my life, and that I matter more. And that might seem selfish, but to me, it's the most powerful act of self-love, and you are better off for it in every role that you are required to do and that you want to do in your life. The second one is that I don't have to do it all. I used to think that it was weakness if I asked for strength, if I asked for help. I didn't want to ask for help, and now I realize that it actually takes more strength to ask for help than and to admit that you can't do it all. And my new mantra is I can do anything, I just can't do everything all at the same time. So I am a fan of delegating. And the last one is really important, especially in this world where everyone is thinking about what other people think about their life. What will they think? What do they think about this? Who cares? It only matters what my life feels like, not what others think about my life. So how does my life feel to me? How do I feel in it? Regardless of what anyone else thinks about me, my choices, my body, my marriage, it doesn't matter. How does it feel to me? Those are my 3.
Great. And by the way, you're not being selfish with your first answer. I have 2 different business coaches right now, and it's the theme right now is like it might sound crazy, but you need to put yourself first. If you don't do that, everything else falls apart. So good stuff.
Absolutely.
You can sit down. You get a glass of wine, maybe 2. Anyone from the past? Who is it?
It's Martin Luther King. And I think he was just such an amazing leader, and his mission was so powerful, and he had so much purpose, and he changed the world. And his quotes are always my favorite. I wish I had heard him speak. I just think what he has done for equal rights and equality is on a different level of what I'm obviously trying to accomplish. But he had such a powerful impact on people I would love to sit and talk with him. And I'll share with you one of my favorite MLK quotes that I think about all the time when people say, shouldn't you just be quiet? Like, do you really need to talk about this right now? Why are you making such a big deal out of it? I always quote MLK, and he said that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. And so I will not be silent. This is my mission, and I'm going to keep speaking up about it. And I just imagine if he had been silent, all that change would not have happened.
Very cool. Love it. You could be in any movie. What is it?
Oh, so easy. Wonder Woman. It just came out. It was, I'm such a fan. So that was easy.
Were you mad? Did you try out for that role? I love that. Was a good movie. Biggest challenge, combination, being a business owner, being a wife, being a mom, that combination. What's been the hardest thing for you?
Definitely, it's feeling like you're pulled in a bunch of different directions. Like, I need you, staff needs me, clients need me, kids need me, husband needs me. So feeling stretched a little thin, and that you're never doing enough. And I think that was sort of my story for several years, was that I'm not doing enough, I'm not enough. And once I realized that, I got really clear about what it was I wanted for my life. And I decided, forget what other people think success is. I am going to define success on my terms, and that's what I'm going to work to achieve. So again, going back to like, how does my life feel like? I want to be happy. I want to be rested, and I have the power to make that happen through my choices. So what do I want for my life? I'm going to get it regardless of what anyone thinks about that.
Cool. 3 other women we need to hear speak.
Unfortunately, I've never heard any of these people speak live. I've only heard them speak on like TED Talks or documentaries, but definitely Taryn Brumfitt. She has started the body image movement, and she recently came out with Embrace, which was a documentary which I took. We went as a gym outing last year, and it was really powerful. She basically traveled all over the world looking at why women hate their bodies. And it was incredibly emotional and moving, and she's doing amazing work on a national, global level. She's actually from Australia, so she's really making a huge impact globally, and I think she's amazing. And every time she speaks, like, I want to listen. Another woman is Brene Brown. She really changed how I thought about being more open and honest with my community when I listened to her talk on vulnerability. And she says, vulnerability connects us, and that is so true. You relate to more people when you're open and honest and you're not trying to put on a front. And the last one is somebody who's pretty local. I actually have heard her speak. She's been into my gym. Her name is Erin Brown, and she is doing great work with self-image for women, and has she's not a fitness coach per se, but she's doing great things with radio and books. And so I just think she's awesome.
All right. What's a project you're working on that's getting you really excited?
Here's the cheesy answer. You ready?
Yep.
It's me. I think for a while I put everything in front of this, and nothing else is going to thrive and grow if I am not the forefront, because I'm responsible for so many things and moving parts. So recently I've really been taking the time to work on me. And that is making time for myself and putting myself as a priority, and working with different coaches to get myself to the next level, physically, mentally, emotionally, working on my leadership skills, working on how I communicate. And it's been awesome. I just, Tough Girl is in this incredible place where I feel like we're a volcano about to erupt, which it hasn't always been like this. So I just feel like that is definitely a direct relationship to me putting myself first and making myself the project rather than all these other things. Because, without the person, there's nothing to drive the other things. You need the people that are motivated and lit up and inspired. And that's me for this business. So that's been really cool to kind of see that and start to work on me. And so I'm the biggest project.
It's a great answer. It's not cheesy. What's the letter to your younger self? So as I mentioned earlier, my eating disorder, I had anorexia for pretty much the whole, all my teenage years. And I wish I knew back then that you can't hate yourself to a better place. Only love can get you to a place, a better place. And I spent too many years focusing on what I weighed or how much
what clothing size I was or the circumference of my thighs. I put all my stock in that. And so I wasn't doing anything impactful or powerful. And I wish I knew then that it didn't matter what I weighed. That actually the most uninteresting thing about my life. I still had the power to make change. And I wish I had somebody like Tough Girl in my life back then to say, you're more than your body, you're more than your weight, you're more than your thigh circumference. Stop obsessing about these things that don't matter and go out there and do awesome things with your life. You have the power to create change. And I didn't believe that. I thought I had to get to this place. And unfortunately for me, this place was physical appearance. And I wish somebody had said back then, like, dear Christa, you are more than your body. You have the power to do amazing things right now as you are. And you need to start loving yourself. And that's what I try to tell everybody that comes into my gym, regardless of age now, because we need to hear that.
Absolutely. And I know you didn't have a tough girl and you didn't have anybody to tell you that, but you are obviously spreading that message and you are an inspiration. I love everything that you're doing. Loved my visit to your facility, and hopefully more women, more men will get out there and do at least a similar message, because obviously there's so many men coaches working out there. So Christa, thanks so much for coming on, and keep doing what you're doing. You're kicking butt.
Thanks so much, Anthony. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 41 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast. Thanks again to Christa Doran. Make sure to check out all the links to all her stuff at stop20podcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave us a review, and a rating helps us out. My name's Anthony Renna. Thanks so much for stopping by.